Two mutants defined an entire era of superhero cinema, but one is about to commit the ultimate theft. Wade Wilson decides his standard mutant healing factor lacks durability, and he sets his sights on James Logan Howlett's indestructible skeleton. We are exploring the exact timeline where Deadpool successfully steals Wolverine's adamantium. The outcome transforms the Merc with a Mouth from a nuisance into a walking horror show, which meant accidentally turning his greatest rival into an apex predator. The fallout from this single heist rewrites their entire dynamic, creating a chaotic chase across the mutant world. Wade Wilson surviving deadly encounters relies entirely on his accelerated cellular regeneration. Bullets tear through his tissue, blades sever his limbs, and his body simply rebuilds the damage over hours or days. Watching Logan shrug off point-blank artillery fire without losing a single limb sparks a dangerous idea in Wade's twisted mind. He wants that permanent structural integrity. Stealing an incredibly toxic, ultra-rare cosmic metal fused to another man's bones requires resources Deadpool completely lacks. He cannot walk into a laboratory and request an adamantium infusion. He needs a shortcut, relying on the only mutant on Earth capable of ripping metal from a living host. The plan demands terrible timing and absolute ruthlessness. Wade targets Logan during a moment of total vulnerability, setting the stage for the most invasive robbery in mutant history. Eric Lensher absolutely despises Wade Wilson. Getting the master of magnetism to participate in this heist requires extreme deception, and that is exactly what Wade delivers. He approaches Eric with fabricated intelligence about a looming anti-mutant weapon, claiming Logan's skeleton holds the only key to neutralizing the threat. Wade promises a massive, life-altering favor in return for this surgical extraction, fully intending to ignore the debt entirely. Eric views Wolverine's adamantium as a perversion of nature anyway, making him surprisingly receptive to the terrible idea. The transaction occurs in a damp, abandoned warehouse in upstate New York. Logan lies completely unconscious, heavily sedated by specialized tranquilizers stolen from a government black site facility. Eric extends his hands, focusing his immense magnetic power on the incredibly dense metal bonded to Logan's skeletal structure. The raw magnetic forces pull the adamantium free molecule by molecule, leaving the legendary X-Man broken on the cold concrete floor. Transferring the liquid metal into Wade's body ranks among the most agonizing experiences imaginable. Weapon X scientists spent years perfecting this exact bonding process, but Eric performs it in minutes using raw magnetic force. The superheated adamantium coats Wade's bones, boiling his internal organs and pushing his mutant healing factor past its absolute limit. Wade screams until his vocal cords melt, only for them to regenerate and burn away again. The physical trauma would instantly kill any normal human, and it nearly destroys Deadpool. Wade's cancerous cells constantly rebuild his damaged tissue around the hardening metal, refusing to let him die. Hours later, the cooling process finally finishes. Wade lies in a massive pool of his own blood, breathing heavily as the indestructible alloy sets permanently into his skeleton. He clenches his fists tightly, feeling the immense new weight anchoring him to the ground. The first realization hits Wade when he tries to stand up. Adding at least 100 pounds to his frame overnight drastically changes his center of gravity. Every heavy step cracks the aging concrete beneath his combat boots. Extending his wrists forward, the mercenary forces the newly acquired claws through the skin of his knuckles. For the very first time, the pain feels sharp, but the sight of 6 gleaming, indestructible blades brings a massive grin to his scarred face. Testing his new durability immediately involves shooting himself directly in the foot. The bullet flattens instantly against his adamantium metatarsal, barely bruising the quickly regenerated tissue. Wade Wilson is no longer just a guy who survives damage. The erratic killer operates as a man who cannot be damaged in the first place. Packing his duffel bag quickly, Deadpool leaves a crude sticky note for the bleeding Logan, strutting out into the sunlight as a brand new nightmare. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who left comments on our last video. This video literally would not exist without you, because we chose this exact topic directly from your comments. Please write your best ideas for future What If videos down below, and the most liked comments will definitely be selected for our upcoming projects. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel right now, and let's get back to the chaos. Logan always treated his claws with quiet respect, viewing them as deadly instruments of survival. Wade treats them like luxury Swiss Army knives. The comedy of horrors begins. Exactly 20 minutes after leaving the warehouse. Popping a 6-inch, indestructible blade, Deadpool slices open a tiny cardboard Amazon package containing his new hair care products. Later that afternoon, the mercenary extends a single claw to scratch a persistently annoying itch right between his shoulder blades, completely ruining his favorite red spandex suit in the process. He aggressively stirs his iced coffee with the world's most dangerous weapon, terrifying the teenage barista behind the counter. The heavy metal makes him ridiculously clumsy, heavily knocking over displays at a local convenience store, while searching for chimichangas? Possessing the ultimate weapon simply results in absolute, mundane stupidity. The situation quickly escalates, from minor property damage to a massive public menace. Wade orders a rideshare to cross town, completely forgetting he now weighs, well over 300 pounds. He crushes the back suspension of a standard sedan the moment he forcefully sits down. When the driver misses a simple left turn, Wade pops his metallic claws right next to the man's ear, casually demanding a 5-star rating and a detour to a taco stand. He taps the indestructible points against the glass window, leaving deep, permanent gouges in the vehicle. The added weight means Wade cannot ride his iconic red Vespa anymore without the tires instantly popping under the pressure. His sheer density turns him into a human wrecking ball on public transit, breaking subway seats and denting turnstiles simply by leaning against them. The Merc with a mouth officially operates as a walking public liability. The real horror show starts when heavily armed mercenaries track Wade down. Wade's original fighting style relied entirely on a complete disregard for his own physical safety. The chaotic fighter routinely sacrificed his limbs just to land a fatal blow on an opponent. Adding an indestructible skeleton to that reckless philosophy creates a combat monster. When the mercenaries open fire with heavy assault rifles, Wade does not bother diving behind cover. Standing perfectly still, the mutant lets the armor-piercing rounds bounce harmlessly off his metallic ribs. He giggles maniacally as heavy machine gun fire shatters his skin, but utterly fails to break his bones. Charging straight through a solid concrete wall like a human battering ram, Deadpool completely ignores the concussive force that would have previously snapped his spine. The immortal mercenary fights with cheat codes activated, turning a lethal shootout into a ridiculous slapstick comedy routine. Wade loves highly theatrical entrances, and his new mask provides the perfect opportunity to upgrade his entire repertoire. Scaling a 12-story parking garage gives him the perfect height to test his gravitational impact. Leaping off the concrete ledge, Wade falls directly toward a group of unsuspecting cartel members below. Before stealing the adamantium, a drop like this would have completely shattered his legs, forcing him to crawl around for hours while his bones slowly knitted back together. Now, the heavy mutant hits the asphalt exactly like a heavy meteor. The massive impact craters the street, flipping nearby cars into the air and sending a destructive shockwave through the pavement. Wade stands up slowly, dusting off his shoulders without a single broken bone. Achieving the perfect, completely uninjured superhero landing feels amazing, forcing the terrified surviving cartel members to applaud his technique before finishing them off. Back at the abandoned warehouse, James Howlett finally regains consciousness. Expecting the familiar heavy ache deep in his bones, the mutant instead feels incredibly strange. Sitting up slowly, Logan suddenly realizes the immense metallic weight he carried for decades is completely gone. Panic sets in rapidly. Instinctively clenching his fists, he throws a heavy punch, commanding his claws to extend. They slice through his knuckles, but they are not the gleaming, indestructible blades he heavily relies on. They are thick, jagged, white bone protruding from his calloused hands. The pain feels intense and raw, much sharper than the slick exit of metal he grew accustomed to over the years. Staring down at his blood-stained hands, Wolverine pieces together the sheer magnitude of the violation. Wade Wilson actually stole his defining feature? A deep, guttural growl escapes his throat, vibrating with a level of pure hatred untouched for years. To understand exactly what happens next, we need to look closely at the biology of Wolverine's mutation. Adamantium operates as a highly toxic substance that constantly poisons the host body. For decades, Logan's incredible mutant healing factor worked massive amounts of overtime simply to keep that heavy metal from killing him. His immune system spent most of its energy fighting off the chronic adamantium poisoning, leaving only a small fraction of its power to heal gunshot wounds and deep lacerations. By ripping the metal out of his body, Eric Lenscher unintentionally removed the greatest biological handicap on Logan's powers. Wade completely believed he was taking Wolverine's greatest weapon, but what nobody expected was the unchaining of a dormant beast. The heavy, toxic burden is permanently gone. Logan's cells are suddenly flooded with excess regenerative energy, rapidly healing his torn flesh in mere seconds. The physical transformation appears immediate and utterly terrifying. Without the 100 extra pounds of dense metal anchoring him down, Logan becomes impossibly fast. His reflexes, previously burdened by heavy limbs, sharpen into something entirely feral. Dashing across the massive warehouse floor, the mutant closes a 50-foot gap in the absolute blink of an eye. His natural bone claws might break against heavy steel, but they regenerate almost instantly due to his newly supercharged healing factor. Leaping high into the rafters, Logan grips the wooden beams with his jagged bones, exactly like a wild animal. The veteran X-Man no longer fights like a seasoned brawler relying on indestructible armor. He fights like a rabid, starving wolf. The feral mutant's senses sharpen massively, picking up the faint, distinct scent of chimichangas and cheap gunpowder lingering in the damp air. Wade left a clear trail, and the apex predator is fully locked onto it. Tracking Deadpool proves ridiculously easy for a man with severely enhanced olfactory senses. Wade makes zero effort to hide his chaotic movements, leaving a highly visible path of crushed pavement, terrified civilians, and heavy collateral damage across the city. Stealing a heavy motorcycle, Logan pushes the engine to its absolute limit as he speeds down the crowded highway. The cold wind whips past his face, making him realize he does not even feel the freezing temperatures anymore. Operating at absolute maximum efficiency, his immune system perfectly regulates body temperature and completely prevents physical fatigue. The angry mutant tracks Wade directly to a crowded shopping mall, following the loud sound of maniacal laughter and shattering glass. Abandoning the smoking bike, Logan enters the building silently through a glass skylight, dropping onto the second floor. The feral hunter spots his target near a crowded food court, casually using a stolen metal claw to spear pieces of teriyaki chicken. Logan steps slowly out of the dark shadows, popping his bone claws with a sickening crunch that echoes heavily across the empty food court. Wade turns around, completely unfazed by the terrifying sight of a feral, angry Wolverine. He actually pulls out his cell phone, demanding Logan hold the angry pose so he can take a quick selfie for his social media followers. He openly mocks the jagged bone claws, laughing at how primitive they look compared to his shiny new upgrades. Logan refuses to trade witty insults. He lunges forward with terrifying, unburdened speed, violently slashing Wade across the chest before the mercenary even registers the sudden movement. Wade stumbles backward, suddenly realizing his massive new weight makes him heavily sluggish compared to the lightning-fast mutant. actively tearing into him. The heavy metal skeleton protects Wade's internal organs, but Logan's sheer ferocity easily overwhelms the disorganized, heavy fighter. The violent confrontation instantly escalates into the craziest chase in mutant history. Wade possesses the ultimate physical defense, making him completely unkillable. But he heavily lacks the speed to catch his feral opponent. Logan possesses the ultimate lightning offense, striking rapidly from the shadows and vanishing completely before Wade can retaliate. Logan systematically dismantles Wade's daily life, brutally attacking him while he sleeps, while he eats, and while he tries to watch television. He targets the soft tissue directly between the adamantium joints, inflicting maximum pain without ever hitting the unbreakable bones. Wade quickly discovers that carrying an indestructible skeleton means absolutely nothing if an insanely fast, super healing ninja constantly slices your muscles to ribbons. The merc with a mouth ends up desperately running from the very man he violently robbed. He searches endlessly for Eric Lyncher to reverse the invasive procedure before Logan drives him completely insane. The violent theft of the adamantium skeleton proves exactly why some weapons belong to specific warriors. Wade Wilson desperately wanted a massive upgrade, but he only bought himself a lifetime of heavy, sluggish torment at the bloody hands of a supercharged apex predator. Logan lost his shiny metal, but he regained his wild, completely unchained soul. If you enjoyed this wild breakdown of mutant chaos, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives like this every single week. We will catch you in the next one.